Hi, good day. Welcome to iTech 360, and today we will be talking about risk analysis. So I'll get straight into it. It's important to note that we need to understand the value of our assets, and by doing this, we need to do a risk analysis. We need to know how much something is worth. Things can be measured both quantitatively and qualitatively, but today we'll be talking about the quantitative risk analysis. Quantitative analysis attempts to assign real values to all elements of the risk analysis process, including asset value, safeguards, cost, threat frequency, probability of incident, and more. Just to name a few, these are what you could look at. Quantitative analysis is purely risk analysis, which is impossible as there are always unknown values and there are always qualitative values. You can automate quantitative analysis with software and tools. These require tons of data though to be collected, as such require a long time and effort to complete, but the tools help speed that up. So we're going to go through some steps of quantitative analysis. Um, just to name some: assign value to an asset, estimate actual cost for each asset and threat combination. We'll call that the SLE. We'll see that later. Perform a threat analysis, determine the probability of each threat occurring, derive the overall loss potential per threat per year, and reduce, transfer, avoid, and or accept the risk. Steps in quantitative analysis. We're going to go through them. So again, the first one, assign value to assets. What is something worth? The cost to obtain money and asset brings in value to competitors, cost to recreate, legal liabilities, or even something that has been passed down for generations usually is something totally priceless. So we need to go more in depth, but these are just simple overviews, right? Step 2, estimate loss potential. For each threat, we need to determine how much could a threat damage or cost us, whether that be physical damage, loss of productivity, cost of repairing, amount of damage. We need to determine single loss expectancy, or SLE, as we mentioned earlier, per asset and threat. Example, if you have a virus outbreak and each outbreak costs 50,000 in lost revenue and repair costs, your SLE is 50,000. Simple enough, right? Estimate of loss potential. When determining SLE, you may hear the term EF, exposure factor. For some items, loss is percentage of a value. This is where EF comes in. If you have a warehouse with 1 million of value and the threat is a fire, your fire suppression system might stop a fire at 25%. This is your EF and must be calculated in SLE. SLE equals total value divided by cost multiplied by EF. So that's SLE, single loss expectancy, which equals the total value divided by cost multiplied by exposure factor. In this case, the fire SLE equals 1 million multiplied by 0.25 equals 250,000. 0.25 being 25%. Step 3. Perform a threat analysis. Figure out the likelihood of an incident, analyze vulnerabilities and rate of exploits, analyze probabilities of natural disasters to your location, review all records of incidents. In this step, we need to calculate the annualized rate of occurrence, or the ARO. Example, chance of a virus outbreak again, right? In any month, equals 75%. Then the ARO equals 0.75 by 12, which is a year, 12 months. So we can expect an ARO of 9. Step 4. Derive the ALE. Derive the annual loss expectancy. To derive the annual loss expectancy, we take single loss expectancy multiplied by annualized rate of occurrence, and that way we get annual loss expectancy. Example, 50,000 cost of a virus outbreak, which would be the SLE, multiplied by 9 occurrences for the year, which is the ARO, equals 450,000 cost for the threat, which would be the ALE. Step 5. Reduce, transfer, avoid, or accept the risk. For each risk, you can do the following: reduce risk, install countermeasures to lessen or mitigate EF, which is the exposed factor. You can transfer the risk, which would mean going to an insurance agency. Accept risk, do nothing to minimizing risk. Avoid risk, stop doing activity that causes risk. Simple thing. Stop going around the man, girl.
Review of quantitative. Assign the values to the assets, estimate potential losses per the threats, estimate the likelihood of a threat happening, estimate annual loss for the year, reduce, transfer, avoid, or accept risk. Qualitative risk analysis. Rather than assigning values to everything, you walk through different scenarios and rank the seriousness of the threats. So you do research and you think why a threat is more serious than the next, using various techniques such as judgment, best practices, intuition, and experience. You then use the techniques to figure out countermeasures that would be used. Quantitative cons. Complex calculations are required. It's extremely difficult to use this method without the necessary tools and softwares, and there's a lot of preliminary work required.